Without further ado, as the saying goes, I'm going to introduce you to Tracey Woodward. Tracey's director of Holland & Barrett. She has over 30 years' experience in beauty, and she's going to give her perspective really on wellness. And the rest of her bio's in your books. So welcome, Tracey.
Love those whoops. Thank you for the whoops. I don't know how we're going to get on with this because I'm not sure I can see it, but I'll try to just talk through. First, I want you all to stand up. Okay, have you all got someone near you, next to you? Okay. So I want you all to turn this way. I want you to put your hands on the shoulders in front of you. I want you to take a deep breath in, and then I want you to rub the shoulders in front of you whilst you're exhaling. Okay, ready? Once more. A deep breath in, because we're getting rid of the negative energy, right? And we're pushing out positive energy to the person that's in front of you. Massage. Right, so to keep it even, let's turn around. Okay. A deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Massage. Come on, get your thumbs in there. Really put some pressure in. Wake that person up. Stimulate the nerves. Okay? A deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Massage. Great, you can all sit down now. How does it feel? Maybe just wiggle your shoulders around a little. So I don't really know how qualified I am to be on the stage and talk wellness, but how many people in the room actually know me and have followed my career? Oh, a few. Thank you. Thank you for following me on LinkedIn and Instagram. Thanks, Ian. And obviously, I've had the good fortune to work with quite a few people in the room as well, which is fabulous. I started my career in beauty 35 years ago as a Clinique consultant on counter in Debenhams and Croydon. I only ever wanted to sell beauty products. But what I discovered is that consumers want more. They want a connection. They want a relationship. So when I was a Clinique consultant, I think I had the average, at nearly 19, I had the average unit sale of about 3.4, which was unprecedented in the southeast of England for Clinique. And the reason I had that, I think, was because at 14, I couldn't read or write. I was totally illiterate. I never went to school. And so, but all I wanted to do was learn. All I wanted to do was to connect with these customers and these people. And I knew everything about my customers. I knew, whether or not their husbands were having an affair, what golf course they liked to play on, what car they drove, where they holidayed, how many weddings they had coming up. And everything that we do in our business is about that. It's about connection. It's about relationships. It's about making that client or that consumer feel like they belong in your environment today. And so for me, it was a joy. And through working on the counters to obviously running different brands, I've run brands like Donna Karan, Aveda in the 90s. That makes me feel very old. Modern Organic Products, Urban Retreat for 8 years, which was on the top floor of Harrods, and then we had other locations. Obviously, it was a sister company to Aveda. And then Aromatherapy Associates for 3 amazing years, picking up the gauntlet after Geraldine had sadly passed away, but really wanting to bring in purpose, because I couldn't be a therapist, I'm not, and I couldn't be an aromatherapist because I'm not, but I really looked at what did the market need at that time. And what we discovered on a big brainstorm with our team is that people were looking to understand wellness and self-care and where it was going, because fundamentally we were getting to discover that more and more people were getting type 2 diabetes, were suffering from heart disease, depression, anxiety, just not being able to speak, a lot of mental health challenges, and of course, the big one, cancer. And so at Aromatherapy Associates, we decided to put together a panel of wellbeing experts so that the product would change how people felt, because that's what we did. We took them on a sensory journey. And our education from our wellbeing experts became the knowledge of how to manage stress, how to manage anxiety, how to speak up, how to look after yourself when you're having cancer treatment. So from my perspective, it was all about bringing wellness into that business. And then I left and took a couple of months off, did a bit of travelling, and agreed to join Holland & Barrett as their wellbeing and self-care director. Sadly, when I got to that role, moved 100 miles, got divorced, changed my whole life to the Cotswolds, it didn't go as planned, because my vision on self-care and well-being is very different. It's the first job in my 36 careers where I've kind of thought, what am I doing here? And so I'm delighted to say that it's the first time it's ever happened to me. I'm delighted to say it's kind of happened after I don't have the responsibility of 2 sets of school fees and an enormous mortgage. But, of course, I've been on my own personal journey for health and wellness because back in 2008 I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, borderline type 1 and complete thyroid failure. And so, and I go to this clinic in Germany, and I've just come back. I've just done 16 days, 12 days fasting and 4 days with less than 600 calories a day. But what you discover is that more and more individuals are looking to understand what wellness means and where self-care really sits. Because where does the average person go for advice? They go to their doctors don't understand nutrition because they only get 6 hours training in their whole medical training. So they don't understand nutrition, so they can't help people change their diets. I mean, I know in Scotland now they're writing prescriptions for diabetes. They're telling people get out and walk for an hour a day, and that will make you feel better. And it actually has reversed diabetes. But people are now looking for this help and support. And yes, there is, a stress-relieving process. You come to a spa or a salon and you have a massage, or you have your lashes done, or your brows done, or you have a manicure to make you feel better. But where is the knowledge? And I think that, obviously, I've spoken at the Global Wellness Summit. I've been to the Global Wellness Summit many times, and we see that, preventative healthcare is the future. And I suppose what I'm here to say to everybody in the audience is, never before have we been so responsible for our own wellness. Self-care is our first form of healthcare. 10 years ago, I was probably having the perfect blow dry and the perfect brows and the perfect nails, and that to me was self-care. But actually, what I realised is that was masking what was going on in my own personal circumstances. Unhappy marriage, working excessively hard, trying to bring up 2 kids, I was masking my emotions and how I felt. And so they were my toolkit, really, for health and well-being. But it wasn't really solving the problem, which is why I end up very, very unwell. And I think I am just an average girl. I don't think that there isn't a single woman or man in this room that hasn't or will not go through what I went through. And so if it's happening to all of us and we're thinking, maybe I should just be a vegan for one day, or, if any of you used to watch Game Changers yet on Netflix? Right, changed your life, right? So it made you think completely differently. If you haven't watched it, watch it. I promise you, you will look at health. But that is where we're at. So now this information is coming out, and the consumers and us as human beings are getting to understand and connect with it. More businesses are bringing in well-being in the workplace. At Aromatherapy Associates, we had a great strategy for that and was very successful. But you've got to think about your teams as well. So if you want to be a spa that is going to focus on alternative therapies and different solutions, you're going to have to think about how you look after your staff. What are you serving in the canteen? How are you addressing their mental health? How do you make them feel every day? Do you make them feel positive? Do you make them feel like they can achieve anything? Or do you make them feel like, we've got to make this number, we've got to make this happen, pressure, 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 squeeze more people in, turn that room a bit faster. And so there are lots of challenges that we face if we want to use the word wellness or well-being within our business. And so I suppose I'm up here to say, think really hard about what you want to be, because you can be a really fabulous spa or a really amazing salon delivering maintenance services, because we all need those. There's a real sense of entitlement connected to those treatments. We need them in our lives. But if you want to be part of the fastest growing sector in the world, which is set to hit at 4.5 trillion, I believe, next year. 3 years ago it was at 3.5 trillion. I mean, trillion, that's a lot of money. And so if you want to be part of that sector, you've really got to think about how you're going to divide your product and your maintenance treatments versus your self-care and your well-being solutions. And you've got to look at it for your people as well. You know, 27% of all workers find it hard to eat healthily during their working week, while 34% of workers struggle to find some time to exercise in their well-being. Companies need to be encouraging their employees to be well and effective and to be high performance. For my 50th birthday, which was 5 years ago, I thought I'd learn a Beyonce dance routine. So I got this fantastic dance teacher. It's on LinkedIn somewhere as well, so if anyone wants to see it. It's a bit of a joke, but I know you've seen it, Ian. But it's there. And what I realised, and again, you know, learning and the enlightenment, is that I learned a 2-minute dance routine. So Beyonce does it through the whole dance, but she does, you know, a lot more than that choreographed piece. And she does it 2 or 3 times. It took me 16 hours to learn how to do 2 minutes of dance and to do it well. And I'm not going to do it for you, but if I was here last night, I might have. But, you know, it took me 16 hours. And what I really realised then, you know, I'm not a sporty person. I love walking, I love hiking, I love being by myself. But what I realised is that if we want to be well, we've got to be athletes in our own life. How does she get up on stage and dance for 2 hours, right? How does Tiger Woods, you know, hit it in the hole? How does, you know, any Grand Prix racer manage to stay on form? They're athletes in their own lives. And that's what we have to encourage our employees to be within our businesses, and it's what we have to be within our lives. We have a duty of care to ourselves. And so, during the next decade, authenticity and what you stand for as a company will rule. Okay, because we can now share, we can research, we can look, we can analyse, we can be part of anything that we want to be part of. But if it's not authentic, I promise you, and if it's not sincere and honest and meaningful and relevant, they are going to call you out. They are going to hang you out to dry. And so you really have to think about what you're putting into your business and how meaningful and relevant it is to you, your employees, and your customers. So I truly believe that travel for wellness is the next big thing. You won't travel 100 miles for these types of treatments. You won't travel 3,000 miles for these types of treatments because they're everywhere. But when you have them in your business, you've got to make them meaningful and relevant. It's really important to do that. People now are travelling thousands and thousands of miles the other side of the world to have these types of treatment, to work with empowerment coaches, to have sophology, to have hormone management, to have sleep workshops. This is happening all over the world. You've seen SPAs happen. You see SPAs delivering this to their customers. I've just been on a retreat. Every time I go to booking, I try and learn something different. The first time it was, how do I overcome the diabetes that I'm suffering from? How do I get my health on track? The last time I was there, which was for more than half of October, I wanted to go on a spiritual journey. So I wanted to practice chanting. I wanted to do the meditations. I wanted to do autogenic breathing. I wanted to stretch every morning. I wanted to do the 7-kilometre walk every morning. This is all on no food. I hope you're impressed. Just 2 bowls of broth. But these are the things that I wanted to do, and I travelled to this place in Germany to do that. I lost 7 kilos. The first 3 nights I didn't sleep well at all. I mean, anybody that knows me from 6 years ago, I was like double the size. It's taken me, 5 years to get here. But that's what wellness is about, and that's what self-care is about. And I've had to search out people that are going to help me do this. This is what your clients will be looking for to change how they feel and how they live. Because actually, you know, I'm not a wealthy person. I'm a hard-working, you know, woman. But, you know, I've got lots of very wealthy friends. And when I speak to them and I say, you know, you're buying a new watch? Do you want another car? What handbag are you buying this year? Where are you going on holiday? What's your next step? And nearly every one of them says, you know what, I don't care about any of that stuff. I want to not be a burden for my children. I don't want them to have to kind of see me go through pain and grief and stress. And I want a long and healthy life. I want to, you know, because anybody that's under 25 in the room is probably going to be living to be 100 because of, you know, the methods that are going to be put in place. If you're going to make it to 100, I think I'm going to go at about 87, and the only time I will change that decision was when I'm 86, I believe. But, you know, but if you want to make it to 100, you are going to really have to be that athlete in your own life. You can't get this advice from medical centres. You're probably not going to get it at Holland and Barrett. And you can't get it from your doctor because they don't have time. So this is a big opportunity for SPAs, but you have to be authentic and you have to be sincere and you have to do your homework. And you really, really have to look at how you choose to make people feel. And if it's outer stuff, that's absolutely fine. But if it's inner stuff, you have to be authentic and you really have to know your game. So I suppose the next question is, how do you merge the two? And again, don't put, you know, a Taoist massage, you know, a Qing-Nei-Sei massage next to, you know, a 30-minute neck and shoulders. You know, really look at how you're communicating it within your business and how you're going to position that area as self-care and wellness. But if you're doing it and you're going to find the treatments and you're going to do it effectively, make sure the team that you put in place also practice that. I'm not saying that you need to be vegan and walk around in Birkenstocks and, you know, chant every 20 minutes, but you need to find those holistic therapists. One of the biggest challenges within the beauty industry right now is getting therapists. I promise you it's getting worse because, you know, government is pulling so much funding that it's not a good place to be right now. But if we can bring in other types of education into our industry and sector and make it appealing for the people that want to be more spiritual and want to focus on wellness and self-care, I think there's a big opportunity for us to exceed that, you know, 4.7 trillion. So the two can merge, but you've got to be very clear about your conversations. That's my personal belief. Steph. So we had it at Urban Retreat. When I ran the Urban Retreat business, we had a body clinic, we had a medi-spa, we had an honest, nutritious, delicious cafe, but we also had the biggest nail bar in London, which Steph ran, and we also had a 47-station styling, 32 beauty rooms, and 225 members of staff in one space. But I tried a lot of the time to factor in that they needed to be looked after, and I'm only ever as good as the worst person that works for me, whoever that is. So I do believe they can merge. I do believe that there is potential for it to happen, but you have to really take control of that and you have to market that effectively. What do you think?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
And do you think the future is, you know, self-care is your first form of healthcare?
Yes.
Yeah. So really think about how you communicate that. Really think about the conversations that you have and just don't, you know, butt it up next to something that is not connected to wellness. Don't put it in the same area as lashes or highlights or, you know, manicures. Build a whole portfolio, make it meaningful, make it relevant. There are lots of amazing speakers, there are lots of amazing trainers. You know, if you look at Beata, when she did her talk earlier, she's very concerned about the wellness of therapists, you know, and attracting more people into the business. And as I say, if we're all going to live to be 100, not me, but if we are all going to live to be 100, we need to think about how we look after people. So, really think about managing the healthy lifestyle within your business and outside of your business. All of the stats, and there aren't many, So think about, there aren't many here, they're coming up, but I've taken all of this information from about 6 Mintel reports. Who knows Naomi? Do you all know Naomi? Okay, so she's got the Mintel reports. They're about £20,000 a report. I'm quite happy to share them with the people that attended my talk. And there's lots of stats on, global stats on self-care, healthcare, wellness, stress management, and what the communities are looking for, which will allow you to really think about how you're putting together your treatment list. So really think about, do you want to offer a self-care service but not a healthcare advice? Because healthcare advice is what you go to your doctor for, right? Self-care, all the, and again, if anybody wants this presentation, I'm happy to send it out. Just speak to Naomi, it's yours. But self-care is about connection, it's about mindfulness, it's about the energy. Adam, tell me when I've got to get off as well, because I'm useless at keeping time. No idea. Okay, tell me when I've got to get off. 5 minutes? 5 minutes, okay. So, some interesting facts to look at. So 20% of the UK consumers have eaten food which supports gut health in the last 6 months. That means that people are really interested in gut biome. You know, they're really interesting. The biggest biome actually sits on our skin, on our body. I think that the next revolution within the beauty industry is actually how do you protect your skincare mantle for health and wellness? Because actually scrubbing it, rubbing it, is actually not good for you. So that's a really interesting stat. If I go back, I wanted to, 26% of adults have tried learning mindfulness techniques, and a further 38% would be interested in doing so. So people are looking for this. So this is all data that's in these Mintel reports. 67% of adults say that they are connecting with others is a good way to improve their well-being. Well, we all know. Stand up. Make sure you've got someone next to you. So you'll have to go there. You have to have one person. You have to have one person. Steph, find someone behind. Okay. You have to turn, right? This is, and I know I don't want to make you too intimate, but this is the best thing you're ever going to do for you or your family. I want you to hug the person next to you. But we're going to start, wait. Okay? Turn around. We're going to do it for 6 seconds. 6 seconds. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, sit back down. Sit back down. I can tell you, not because I'm a researcher or a scientist, but I can tell you in those 6 seconds, you've just had the biggest burst of serotonin that you will ever have until you hug somebody again. Okay? Serotonin is what gives you gratitude. Serotonin is what makes you feel happy. Serotonin is what makes you feel good. Dopamine is addictive. Dopamine is what you get when you eat a cheeseburger, or you buy a Ferrari, or you buy a gold bracelet, watch, new handbag, house. Dopamine is addictive. It causes adrenaline and cortisol to increase, and it allows you to follow that road of searching for constant gratification. Actually, if you did this for 6 seconds, you would cause the same release of serotonin. Serotonin is the happiness hormone, and that's the one that we want to get people to have. So I'm not going to read the stats because you're all going to ask me for the report, but I want you to understand that that's what people are looking for. They want to be happy, they want to be connected, they want to be well, they want to feel good. So data there, some interesting reading. So if you're looking at good books to read to understand where we're going, what we're doing, Science Now, this is a fabulous book. Hannah Critchlow, I actually bought it, I read it and then bought it for my daughter because I kind of said it'd make you realise how mad your family is and why we're all so different, because it allows you to navigate humans basically. I read this in a day. This is Activate the Vagus Nerve. Now we know, science is actually proving that the vagus nerve is the chakras. So the health holistic, I ran Aveda for many years, the health holistic wellness side of the business, we've been talking about chakras for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. We now know that the vagus nerve is the chakras. The vagus nerve is the only nerve in the body that can't be treated by medication. It can only be treated by stimulating your hormones and by massage and by touch and by tone. And funnily enough, by the aroma neroli. AA team, you need to work on a vagus nerve product. But, you know, that is what makes the difference. And so, you know, I'm sure that there have been pioneers trying to find a form of medication that we can, you know, sell for billions to stimulate the vagus nerve. There isn't one. But it is the chakras. It goes from the top of our head to our sexual organs and touches every single organ in our body. And you'll see a lot of treatments coming out in the next couple of years talking more about the vagus nerve and less about chakras, because everything is evolving. It's evolution. So I encourage you to read the books. I encourage you to think about where self-care and wellness sits within your business. But do all of yourselves a favour. If you're going to talk about self-care, be very serious about it, because the consumer will find you out. You can't call yourself a wellbeing clinic with, you know, a foot massage and a counsellor coming in if you're not going to offer that to your people, and if you're not going to do it yourself, and you're not going to market it in a way that attracts people that are looking for solutions on how to live a better life. And if you want to do self-care and wellness, the first thing you have to do is you have to get an in-house nutritionist in your business, because everything will come back to diet. Everything. But people always say to me, why have you got such great skin? And it must be all the lovely brands you've managed to work with. The one thing I've done for the last 20 years, a lot of the time with an Aromatherapy Associates body brush, is I've body brushed, I've face brushed, and I have a cold shower every morning. I don't wash in warm water in the morning. I shower in cold water. So that's a ritual that I have, and I think that what we're going to be seeing is lots of people looking for those rituals and looking for that guidance and looking for that support. And so you have the opportunity. 4.7 trillion is waiting for you, but do yourselves a favour and do it really, really well. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you, Tracey. We've got time for a couple of questions. Anyone got?
No? Hello? Naomi's email address. Where is Naomi? What's your email address?
Naomi at the-marketing-partners.co.uk.
Come up here so that everyone can see you. So Naomi's got the reports. You've got all the Mintel reports now, right?
We were going to talk about.
Okay. Yeah. She's got them. Because you have to remember, they're cash. They're very expensive. It's something that it's only that I've got connections that we can do it. So if you come up so everyone can see you, and then whoever wants the reports or whoever wants the presentation, come see Naomi and she'll organise it for you. She's a superstar. And actually, we met to do another event that didn't quite happen.
Yeah.
We won't say what it was.
The event that will not be named.
Yeah, but we started talking about wellness and self-care, and I shared my Beyonce dance routine with you. And we talked about, you know, what the future holds of wellness and treatments. And so that's why I'm here, really. I don't actually know that much, but what I do know, that self-care is your first form of healthcare, and that is the future.
Thank you. So yes, if you want a copy of the reports, please just email me at Naomi, that's Naomi, at the-marketing-partners.co.uk. So obviously I do work on behalf of Spa Life, but just part of the time.
And if you need any help on marketing your calendars and your activities into self-care and wellness, she's your gal. Okay.
Okay, good advert in there.
I was going to say, that
Thanks,
really
Naomi.
wasn't a planned plug, but thank you.